As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynard. Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon joining us here shortly. He has a live drive pulled up over there in Lafayette County, so we'll get to him here in just a moment. Before we go out there, I do want to take a look at the headlines tonight, and one of the headlines not listed, the beautiful sunset over the top of North Mississippi right now. Unfortunately, those sunsets coming at a cost because those cold temperatures building back overnight, but luckily, it's not going to be cold forever. No, winter wants to get out of Mississippi and head a little bit more north, and that means much warmer air ahead, and we're going to be enjoying those temperatures as soon as this weekend. But Matt, like I said, is live in Oxford tonight, doing a live drive, kind of surveying that damage, but also telling us a little bit more about how those recovery efforts are going.
Yeah, Gabe, we're here along County Road 1026 on the north side of Oxford, north of Oxford in Lafayette County. So many limbs, as you can see, luckily moved off of, some still dangling a little lower than I think would make a lot of folks comfortable as power restoration continues here in the Oxford, Lafayette County area. At 5 p.m., we talked to the folks at 8 Days of Hope who have been doing a lot of the recovery work here. Again, trying to just help out families to get everything cleaned up. And unfortunately, it's still going to take some time before that all the way happens. Again, I'm on County Road 101 north of the Oxford area. As you'll notice along the sides of the road there, it's just nothing but huge piles of tree limbs from what unfortunately was a devastating ice storm for this area. As of latest update, still 5,300 customers with Northeast Electric Power Association without power this evening. A huge improvement when you consider that number originally was, I believe, as high as around 28,000, 25 to 28,000 customers. So, I mean, huge improvement there. But obviously for folks who have unfortunately been without power now almost 2 weeks, that obviously for those folks not coming quick enough. But I can tell you for a fact where I was at a minute ago there, we had crews that were still working on power restoration and clearing trees still as of even the 6 o'clock hour. So a reminder that these restoration efforts do definitely continue late into the evening. You know, what I've seen has been, again, primarily, as you would imagine, has been the case a lot of spots, it's been tree debris, trees and the power lines, things like that, that obviously caused some of the issues here. I'm now turned down County Road 104, one of the places that the folks with 8 Days of Hope mentioned, you know, one of the harder hit areas. You can see that beautiful sunset that Gabe was mentioning there in the background. When I was checking out this road just a little bit ago, I think one of the things that, you know, is a concern to talking to those folks with 8 Days, you know, they talked about those widowmakers, those dangling branches, like that huge one right there on the side. I don't know if you can see the silhouette of it waiting to fall there. There are going to be issues with that, not just, again, in, you know, the roadways and issues, you know, those dangling over roads, but in many yards as well, which is why I've had this conversation with my kids, probably have to have it with yours, that as we go into this summer, we need to make sure that we're being extra careful. That house there looked like that home had still a branch on top of it. I'm sure that's a pretty common occurrence. You know, Lafayette County, the Oxford area, known for its incredible trees. And in this case, obviously, one of the things that has made it so difficult to get power restoration to all the folks there. But again, we're here in Lafayette County on the live drive, looking at, again, the piles of debris along the sides of the road, you know, and some of that, you know, I know is back there again, the power line debris, just, you know, that it's so much of this is just trying to get things back on for folks, and that's just such a slow process here. So we were in Benton County earlier on. We did talk to the mayor of Hickory Flat about their restoration efforts going on there. The folks in that region. We will have that for you a little bit later on in this broadcast. But from northern Lafayette County along County Road 104, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon, Mississippi Live Weather. And Gabe, as we send it back to you again, this is 5,300 folks here in Lafayette County is 5,300 too many, I should say, customers. But, looking at the damage, I would say that, all of the triage of folks that have come in here to, flocked from around the country and in some cases, around the world to try to help out Lafayette County. It is, so far has been the most all the different places I've been to this week. So, it does look like a lot of that is warranted. Unfortunately, it's just going to take quite a bit of time.
Well, Matt, it seems like you might have been getting a little bit out in the county, and so some of that cell service might be a little bit limited. But yes, I agree with you completely. The trees that are dangling, the damage that was done, some of the most extensive that has happened across North Mississippi as you've been going county to county, seeing it firsthand. That stripe all the way across basically Natchez Trace, and for folks up towards the northwest, that's where the highest impacts were, and that's where those impacts still continue to this day. Nearly, what are we? 13 going on 14 days now. That is unreal, and damage that extensive shows how significant that storm was. Now, fortunately for folks that are worried about any storms in the future, not in this forecast at all. The first 12, 37 degrees by 7, but as we enter 10 o'clock, those temperatures drop to around freezing, and that's where we'll sit overnight, even into our Friday morning as well. But there will be a difference in our Friday forecast. Of course, temperature-wise, already trending a bit warmer. It's still cold, but warmer than what we had today. But the sunshine in the forecast means we are warming up nicely as we get towards those afternoon temperatures. Low temperatures today, like I mentioned, it was a cold start with teens in Oxford, so I'm sure folks out there in Lafayette County are grateful to be in the low 30s tonight, comparatively speaking. And as we take a look at those temperatures currently, seeing upper 30s there are Oxford, Senatobia, South Haven, and Corinth, 42 below Houston, and 47 around Columbus. So everyone trending down overnight. But over the past 24 hours, it does show a positive trend, meaning that things are gradually warming up into our Friday, and that warm-up continues into the weekend as well. Not bad forecast-wise speaking, but speaking of not bad, at sunset out in Clarksdale right now, 44 degrees as we speak, 38-degree dew points, and just a phenomenal-looking sky. Shout out North Mississippi Storm Chasers. Been staring at these cameras for a good while now, just soaking it all in. And even on our MDOT cameras, getting a bit of a hue there in the distance there towards Union County. 39 degrees up there, and of course it is going to be cooling off even more for folks up there from Lee to Union County and even out there all the way across North Mississippi. So let's go ahead and expand things out and talk about what's currently taking place. What we have is our system that brought us all that rainfall a couple of days ago out there towards the East Coast, and we do have this ridging pattern. You can kind of see the axis right there, that brown on the screen. That's that ridge, that high pressure center that's overhead, and that's what's been driving our forecast the past few days. But as it's pushing towards the east, we're going to be enjoying some of those clearer skies and those southerly winds now building into the forecast, allowing for some milder temperatures on our Friday. Now, it's still going to be cold to start, but as the day goes on, you can see how much sunshine is going to be in place, and that sunshine warms us up nicely into the potential low 60s by the afternoon. I say potential, low 60s are expected, and some areas could even be in the upper 60s. We are watching this front up there towards Missouri, Kentucky, and Illinois. That is going to be moving south into North Mississippi, causing a brief setback for our temperatures moving into our Saturday, but not going to be nearly as significant as our Thursday temperatures. And beyond that point, just go ahead and get the shorts and t-shirts out, right? No, that might be extreme, but it does show that things are getting better. The next 24 at freezing for your 6 o'clock hour, and then by the time we reach noon, 59 degrees, low 60s there by 3, and this is honestly the lower side of the spectrum when we're talking about those high temperatures on your Friday. So one of the things we're going to be talking about here in the next 60 is just where to expect the warmest temperatures. We're all trending better, but who's going to be the warmest? And as we get into that extended forecast, how long do these warm temperatures stick around? All of that coming up here in the Room to Room Weather Center, live on Mississippi Live Weather at 6 here in the next 60 seconds.
Save today at Room to Room's President's Day sale. 55% off furniture and mattresses, 20% off accessories,
and 24-month special financing.
The time to act is now.
Room to Room Tupelo, where we know there's no place like your home.
Game day brings its ups and downs, celebration and disappointment, anxiety and relief, friends and enemies. You can always argue over who should have won, but everyone can agree on great food. Appetizers, entrees, drinks, party platters, or even the taste of sweet victory. There's something for every season at Eat With Us restaurants.
You wonder how they're going to experience the real world in real safety, where all kids are welcome and everyone has a path forward to new skills, advancement, leadership, something they will carry with them the rest of their lives.
This portion of Mississippi Live Weather is presented by Little's Jewelers.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Well, weather watchers showing up and showing out across North Mississippi tonight, giving us all of the beautiful views there on the horizon. Dale in Itawamba County submitting this photo of that sky on fire there in the distance. A beautiful sight there. One of the many sunset pictures that we got from our weather watchers. Dawson in Starkville showing this off there towards Stark Vegas. Always love a good sunset down there in Starkville. Brings me back to my time down there. Always loved getting to see that there at North Farm or the Refuge. It's just such good times. Mickey down in Pontotoc submitting this photo as well. So like I said, this is all across North Mississippi, and you probably have yours as well. I apologize. Meant to zoom in on that one. Let's go ahead and zoom in because I think this one's worth seeing. This was Noah in Moorville submitting this photo. This is actually from his drone, so you're getting more of that aerial view, which means that you get more of that sunset encompassing the sky. But great shot. Shout out weather watchers. If you did get a photo tonight, make sure to submit that to us on the Mississippi Live Weather app. But I'm jealous right now because Matt is actually out in the field getting to see this for himself. Of course, I love photos, but seeing it in person, just a night and day difference. So Matt, how is that sunset out there? And more importantly, how are recovery efforts going in Lafayette County right now? Well, it seems like we'll have to come back to Matt here in just a bit. We will hear from him later on in the broadcast, talking to the mayor of Hickory Flat, letting us know some of those conditions up there in Benton County. But nonetheless, he was walking us through some of the damage that has taken place. And of course, the sunsets are phenomenal, but recovery efforts do need this dry air to continue to get those power outages restored, as well as some of those limbs cleared. 37 degrees in Alcorn County. This is just outside of Rienzi, and a beautiful sight there as well, as we are on the back end of that sunset. But nonetheless, still getting that hue there. And yes, here's a look in Oxford where he was earlier on at the 5 o'clock broadcast. 37 degrees right now. And a big thank you to the folks at Phoenix Building Solutions, because I know you're not providing exactly the shot, but what you're providing us is the story. And the story being the power outages that are still in place. Nearly 5,000 still without power. But if we look at that percentage coming down from even yesterday, I mean, you can just see how they are chiseling away at that total and making power restored for as many people as possible as each day passes. Of course, Oxford and Panola County, they're at 15 to 18%. Yalobusha County, where we were earlier on this week, 35%. Tipa 28%, and Benton County 46%, one of the higher totals in the state. So we're continuing to watch this go down, but nonetheless, there are still thousands without power, and we know that with another cold night in the area, we need folks staying safe. Warming centers are still available, and I do recommend, if you don't have a warm place to go ahead and head over to those warming centers to stay safe. Our Mama Justice Doppler radar at least giving us some positive this evening, and that's those clear and dry skies over the top of North Mississippi, and we'll continue to enjoy that into those late night hours as well. 8 p.m., 34 degrees, 32 by 10, and that's where we'll sit into midnight as well. This is as a shift is happening, and that shift is coming with our winds. You can see more of a southerly flow. That southerly flow brings in that Gulf air, and that's of course a little bit warmer, and that's why these temperatures are trending in the positive direction. So tonight we're dealing with that cloud cover fizzling on out, or honestly moving east away from us here in North Mississippi, and those southerly winds moving into the forecast. As that happens, we will see the temperatures trend a little bit more mild, and so Friday morning starting much better than our Thursday morning. As we look at those low temperatures, we're talking low 30s. Again, comparatively speaking, this is much better. About a 10-degree swing across North Mississippi. 31 Oxford, New Albany, and Holly Springs. 30 Corinth and Iuka. We are seeing upper 20s Red Bay, Boonville, Bruce, and then 35 Belzona, and 38 around Greenville. Now, wind chill not going to be as much of a factor with this forecast because there is such little wind, and with it coming out of the south as well, it is going to be some of that more milder air. So not much of a difference in that front. We'll take it for sure. At least one more positive we can add to the list. But that 32 at drop-off will be cold. Continue to layer up as we head out for that final day of the week. Yes, students, some of you had an abbreviated schedule this week, but finally we'll have a weekend that we can enjoy, get outside, soak up the sun, and enjoy the warm temperatures. And that starts on our Friday. Once that bell rings, go ahead and make some plans to get over to your local park, because that's where you need to be to enjoy this type of forecast. Sunshine, 62 degrees. Been quite a while since we've seen conditions this good here in North Mississippi. And if that's not enough for you, let's go ahead and track that out on Futurecast. And as you can see, the sunshine dominating our forecast into those mid to late morning hours, and that continues into the early afternoon as well. You do see this cold front that does move into North Mississippi. Now, this cold front is a dry cold front, so not seeing impacts with any rainfall, but as it moves through the area, it starts to shift those winds again. Again, it's always shifting the forecast, and that's what we're tracking here in the Room to Room Weather Center. So those westerly winds moving to more of a northerly wind, and that northerly wind is going to bring in that colder and drier air. That continues to build in late into our Friday night, but really will be felt on our Saturday. So high temperatures Friday. Oh man, they look good. 63 degrees Holly Springs, 66 Water Valley, 65 Houston, 67 around the Golden Triangle, and then 69 around Belzona and Greenville. As we look at our Mississippi Live game of the week, that's going to be down in West Lowndes. So in some of those areas that are at 67 degrees tomorrow, again, I'm jealous of Matt because he gets to go down there and watch the game, but also gets to enjoy the beautiful forecast and the warmer air down there in Lowndes County. So enjoy it. You and Ethan have a great time. Ingomar going to be traveling into town, and I know folks in Union County excited to get south as well into some warmer air. 49 degrees first tip, 44 towards that final buzzer. But again, it's dry, it's clear, and it's a warmer forecast than what it has been. As we look at our Friday forecast, and really Friday night, we can see northerly winds continue to drive our weather pattern. And as that happens, it'll drop those temperatures, and wind chills are going to be more of a factor as we get into our Saturday morning. So we will see a little bit of that moisture move into town with the cloud cover, but all of the precipitation, yes, some snow chances will be up there towards eastern Tennessee and up there around the Carolinas. So 3 a.m. Saturday, we're just dealing with some patchy cloud cover, as will be the case towards our Saturday morning if you're waking up and heading off to an early commute right around that time frame at 6 a.m. Low temperatures, though, very similar to what we're getting from Friday, around the low 30s, but look at the difference with wind chill. We're talking about well, I guess I have to include the wind chill in order to talk about it, but it's going to be about a 2 to 3 degree difference from those low temperatures that will allow for some of that colder feeling air. So that's the difference in Saturday morning compared to Friday morning, despite those temperatures being pretty much the same. And Saturday continues those beautiful conditions once again. All of this patchy cloud cover and maybe even some patchy fog, that's all clearing out by mid-morning and leaving us with these sunny skies as we wrap up our Saturday. So if you miss the opportunity Friday, and I understand things get busy, Saturday though, you need to make plans to get outside. Go ahead and knock everything off the schedule and make something that requires you to be outside so you can enjoy this great forecast and soak up that sunshine. Into those late night hours, those clear conditions do remain in place. And we'll see that carry over into our Sunday as well. So this weekend forecast looking amazing. One note with the forecast is there is a brief setback really being felt on our high temperature Saturday afternoon. Only going to be in the upper 40s, Tunica, Senatobia, low 50s, Tupelo, Houston, and Bruce, mid 50s, Eupora, Louisville, and Macon, and even a few upper 50s down there towards Attala County. But this is right around our average. This is what we'd expect for this time of year. But beyond this point, things are trending up. Take a look at these high temperatures. 60 degrees Sunday, 67 by Monday, 69 by Tuesday, and still in the upper 60s all the way up until Wednesday, mid 60s by Thursday. So when we say the 60s are back, they're back like they never left, and they don't plan on leaving anytime soon. That 7-day stretch looking spectacular. So I hope that your plans are open next week, because we need to be getting outside for this forecast. And again, I know the Mainer family will be. In some form or fashion, we're getting the dogs and we're just going to be sitting outside, even if it's just the front porch to enjoy it. I don't know. And you know what? 67 degrees, if we were in the middle of summer, we'd be saying, wow, that's a cold forecast. But guys, we're coming out of an Arctic blast. And so that means we're looking at this forecast and saying, that's pretty warm. It's all based off perspective. And our perspective right now tells me that this is a forecast we're excited about and looking forward to. So as I look down in the chat, I do see some folks that are asking about, current conditions throughout the area. We were assessing Lafayette County earlier on. We're going to hear from Benton County coming back from break. Matt talked to the mayor up there at Hickory Flat, and he has a full story of where things stand, how the recovery efforts have been, and what's needed going forward. Stay tuned after or here in the next 60, and we'll give you that full breakdown here in the Room to Room Weather Center.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
What I thought was a complete life was nowhere near complete. But it is now.
Learn about adopting a teen at adoptuskids.org.
Welcome back in here to the Room to Room Weather Center, looking at the beautiful conditions outside. Beautiful in the fact of that sunset, but also beautiful in the fact that it's dry, allowing for those linemen to get out, allowing for folks that are just working to clear the trees, the clutter all across North Mississippi after the damage that was done from last week's storm. Yes, 2 weeks ago now, that winter storm. Down with the mayor of Hickory Flat. Matt got to speak to him earlier today on where things stand and how that progress has been going.
Okay, so we're here in Prentiss County talking to the emergency manager, Bud Lindsay, about the response.
It's been a
Things,
huge
Bud,
challenge, but the resiliency of our citizens and this little community is unbelievable. You know, it's just, and that's the reason I've called it home my whole life. You know, it just, I love the people. Like I said, I've lived here my whole life, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But we've actually been doing a cleanup day today with about what was going to be 8 or 10. We've had more volunteers volunteer that's come together, and we ended up with a group of about 25 people.
That's incredible.
Their trucks are still at the church here where we all park, but as you can see here, just piles after piles of debris houses. We're trying to get some. You got a lot of flyers hanging that Samaritan's Purse is supposed to come in. They've got a crew that specializes in flyers. That's going to come in and help our citizens, but all these piles right here up and down these streets is what these young men have helped us with today, and our volunteers, and they've been such a blessing, you know.
To get young people involved in this, you know, it's an opportunity to realize that, you know, it's not about the community serving us, it's about us serving others. And that's great that you have some young men and women that have been involved with that.
Yes, sir. Just that military mentality. What can you give back to your community and help your neighbors? And this little town, all you got to do is just let people know what you need. You don't have to really ask. You can put a Facebook post out there and say, hey, we need volunteers in the Mercy Chef's Kitchen, and all our local people just pile in there. You know, this right here, we put a little ad, wanted to give back to our kids and let them give back to their community, and I run it in literally less than an hour. The number that we were actually wanting, we had double that respond, you know, and it was just a blessing to see our youth want to be that active in our community.
You know, what's it like to have people that go all over the world? You know, you mentioned Mercy Chefs, you know, like here in town, you know. I don't want to say, does it validate what I think some people say with it, it's so bad, but at the same time, it's just a recognition that, like, this is a monumental task.
It is. You know, it's been 32 years since we had the 94 ice storm, and you know, I've told people, especially the younger bunch that lived through that, this will be clean up and dealing with this for months, because all these flyers, it's up in the woods, trees. Spring storms come, guess what they're going to start doing? They're going to start falling. Yep. And that's a safety hazard, and I do not, anything that we can alleviate that's a safety hazard for our citizens, I want to do everything we can to do that, and that's, again, the Samaritan's Purse that's coming. You notice right here over this road, this is Oak Street. Yeah. That's a huge flyer hanging straight down there, but we can't pull it down because we don't have the equipment to pull it down. You see all this debris. Here's some of our kids working here right now in that backyard at the pasture side.
Hey, give me just a moment.
Okay.
Right over there. Yeah. I mean, just of all the things they could be doing with what is still time off school, I think they're hoping to get back to school next week.
Monday's what we're hoping. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. You see these poles down. This street in particular, you see we've had to replace 3 poles in a row down this street. It's just a lot of damage.
It is, and it's easy to say, well, why isn't it back on? Your power back on for the most part here in town?
In town, in the city limits, we've got approximately 229 residents in the city limits. We're about 95%. The other 5% is just reconnects that they had to remove the services to get weatherheads repaired, posts repaired, whatever, and they plan to come back and get those hooked back up just as soon as possible. But in the county, we're still over 50% in Benton County without power.
That's just, that's to a certain extent the rural nature of having the national forest and some other things, but that's still, it's a long time to be without power, especially when considering there's probably still weeks ahead for some of those folks.
I have talked to family that lives out in the county, and they're still telling them possibly 2 more weeks, and that's going to put them in a month. And you got people, we're all country folks here. You know, we got gardens, we hunt, we fish, and a lot of people are losing their food that they've stocked up in their freezers that they grew all last year in the garden to get through the winter into this next spring. It's gone. They're losing them because they don't have access to generators, and the power companies are working as hard as humanly possible. We are blessed. New Albany Light, Gas, and Water. I tell all our citizens, anytime we have a thunderstorm or any kind of outage, they've kind of got us spoiled. Hour, 2 hours, we're back on.
Yeah.
But this is catastrophic. It's a whole different thing.
Well, it's like it's a multi-county-wide tornado. Damage with we're so used to, there's this track, and then the assets come in, and everybody does what they can inside that track, but then they can immediately go out and recover in some way, shape, or form. This is just everywhere.
It is, man. It's bad. As you see, this is just the first day that we've started cutting out of yards, and it's just piles of debris. It kind of reminds me of those 2015 tornadoes we had come through here. Multiple, just tore stuff up everywhere. This little house right here, this huge oak tree we're coming up on actually split with 3 individuals in the home, and it broke and went down both sides of the house. Crushed 2 of their vehicles, but thank the Lord it did not hit the house or injure anybody. But
so many ways in which this could have gone wrong.
It could have.
And you could have had major fatalities and so many blessings.
You can see one of the cars is still crushed under the garage. The other car got the trunk, and their pickup truck that was here, it got the bed. But this is a younger couple just starting off, and a lot of financial strain on everybody. We've got our community is a lot of retirees, senior citizens. Fixed incomes. They literally the past 2 weeks have spent every dollar they have just to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And
no one had gas for generators on their budget, right?
No. Well, they didn't have 100 gallons of gas on the budget to put in them, much less the generators.
Mm-hmm.
And generators costing $800 to $2,000, and then you got to fuel them $60 a day. And here we are almost 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
So,
man, that's one of the things we were talking about with the emergency manager in Tishomingo County yesterday. Mm-hmm. Is that you have these people that are just getting fixed income, or paycheck to paycheck. And now some of them are actually able to get to town, whereas they couldn't do that for days. Yeah. But now that they're getting to town, they don't have any money to spend on it.
That's exactly right.
If they've been lucky enough to keep generators going, they're out of money.
Yeah, like this house here, steel wires dangling. We actually had to cut that family out so they could get down their driveway. They've got 2 young children. Just first 2 days, we spent just cutting people out so they could get out to get stuff they needed. You see all these sweet gum limbs. Seem like sweet gums and pines and ice don't mix at all.
They don't. They don't. In my house, it's primarily pines. But you know, I'm north of the Tupelo area. This is, I would say, is as substantial as any of the damage we've seen any place.
Well, we've actually a lot. Well, I hate saying a lot, but some's gone already. You know, people around here like to jump on stuff.
Yeah.
Now, thank the Lord, Samaritan's Purse has come in, and well, they're coming in and going to help our citizens, because we just got so many that's on fixed income that cannot afford to hire a tree company to come in. You're looking, and I'm not knocking the tree company guys. They've got equipment they got to pay for. They got a family they got to pay for, you know, to provide for. And you know,
the cost is the cost.
It
but
is.
It's not cheap.
It is. You know, just like all these single mom back here, two elderly retirees behind them.
That's a lot.
It is. It is. It is. You know, like our, you know, we fundraise. We're a small community. Everything we do fundraise. The new indoor baseball facility that hadn't been built many years, it's completely gone. Tree took it completely out there. Man. So I hope and pray, you know, insurance or something cover that. But I mean, it's just this outside wall is all that's left.
Yeah, I'll zoom it in so we can see that.
I'll stop right here where you get a.
Yeah, man. Because that is something you guys are good at on the fundraising part. Because I know that when I came up for the dedication of the softball field, you know, it's kind of the same thing. Like in a community like this, that's what it takes. It takes everybody kind of I mean, always takes everybody chipping in.
It does.
That's something you guys pride yourselves on.
This was our biggest blessing. We got a grant for this building, and when we went to build it, I told them we wanted it as secondary shelter. Mm-hmm. We put on-demand Generac generator. And we just had the ribbon cutting for it the last week in October, right around November the 1st-ish in there. I can't remember the exact date. Mm-hmm. But that was the only building in this whole community with power and heat for almost a week.
Yep. I'm sure it was packed.
Oh, it was. I mean, and we were feeding.
Because it's so dangerously cold. It wasn't, I think that's the thing that, you know, like, I mean, if you had heat in your house, you knew it was cold outside.
Yes.
But so many people didn't, and it's just a different.
That was the difference of this year in 94. 94 hit. A couple of days later, we were already in the 40s and 50s and everything. This was extended cold temperature. Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's still spots along the road where you still see
that's ice,
little bits of ice.
Yeah. Still power lines down. Well, of course, these are actually AT&T lines and I think MaxSouth cable, but it's still, you know, we're a long ways off.
But certainly, I mean, obviously moving in the right direction.
Yes, sir, we are. The resilience of our citizens in this area is just, you know, this is a retired gentleman, not going to call his name on air, but he has given so much to this community. Would just come in at any time the school needed refrigeration work done, air conditioner work, the stores, and, you know, we all plan to get in here and get his yard done, and we've got volunteers that's just coming in and helping. You see this yard's already cut and stacked up. Here's one of our volunteer firemen, also family. He's had a lot of health problems, and we plan to come help him. I think he's been out trying to cut a little bit, but he can only do so much, and great guy. See, he's got trees down everywhere, and thank the Lord it didn't get his house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, like looking at so many houses here, and it could have gone so sideways.
Yeah, it could have, yeah.
Well, Mayor Moffitt, thank you so much for, you know, talking to us, kind of giving us a tour around.
Well, thank you, Matt, and thank you, Mayor Moffitt. I hope that you guys are just continuing that positive trend in the road to recovery, and whatever we can do, I mean, feel free to let us know. And that goes for everyone in North Mississippi in those recovery efforts. And I do hope you guys have a fantastic night tonight. Take advantage of the dry conditions that are overhead, and of course, take advantage of the warm temperatures ahead as well. You can track every bit of that using the Mississippi Live Weather app, free and available on iOS and Android, and you're able to tune in to our broadcast, whether it's the 5 or the 6 or the 10 o'clock happening later on tonight. And don't forget our morning show with our meteorologist Maggie McCauley. She is live at 6:30, 7, and 7:30, so make sure to tune in and keep it here for the very latest.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.